Marie Bennett at blackberriesandcream.net, and I'm here today with my October Paper Pumpkin thank you video. And this month we received in our Paper Pumpkin kit all of the supplies we needed to make 8 of these really cute fall shaker greeting cards. And alright, so this is what the kit looked like last month, and I'm just showing you here how I store my Paper Pumpkin stamps. Stampin'Up sells these DVD size cases, and so I have one case for every month. And what I do is I print out this label, and it looks just like the Stampin'Up stamp set labels. It tells you what is the name of the kit, what month it was from, and a very small image of each stamp. So when you put it on the shelf, you're looking right at what is in the case. And that's very helpful for me when I go to use these stamps again, because these are really nice stamp sets, so they come in useful for a lot of occasions. So this month's stamps, I haven't printed out the label yet because this label comes from a fellow demonstrator. Her name is Jamie Schneider, and she makes these available to us to print out. And she's a very busy person, so usually we get 1 or 2 months at a time, and she hasn't gotten around to doing these yet. I know she will, and I really appreciate all of the work she puts into it. So what I do while I'm waiting for those, I use the directions that come in the kit. And you could do this too. I just take the directions and I fold the sheet up to where this paperpumpkinhowto.com is showing on the inside, and that's pretty close to being the right dimensions. And then I slip it inside the case like this, and I write on here the month, October 2016, and the name, Season of Gratitude. And I slip that in there, and then I'm ready I can at least see the month and the name of the kit while I'm waiting for Jamie to make the others available. Another thing I do with my Paper Pumpkin stamps is when I get the stamps, I take the backing that the stamps are adhered to, the part that has the images printed on it, and I slip it inside the case here and stick it on with a piece of Scotch tape, so that when the case is closed, everything is facing me and is spelled correctly. So I'm not looking at the negative, I'm looking at the positive. And then I stick the stamps to the case right on top of where that image shows through, like that. Then they don't roll around inside the case, and I can easily see at a glance if all the stamps are in there, and I can see this one isn't because we're going to be using this in our project today. So that's just a little tip on how I manage my Paper Pumpkin stamps. Okay, so in addition to this little crinkle design, which I absolutely love this stamp, I'm also going to be using in my card this image just because. Now this stamp set is no longer available. It's called A Dozen Thoughts, and the whole reason I bought this stamp set was because I love this image right here, but I honestly have to admit that I've used most of them in this stamp set. But in this card, I'm using this one. Okay, so we're going to be making a card that looks like this. And this was the first card I did, and as you can see, the outer layer is glued right to the card base, And I decided that I didn't really like that because with this twine it won't lay very flat. So while I like it, it's not my favorite. So we're going to be in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this card, which is just kind of a notch up from the last card. So to make the card today, we're going to be using the chocolate chip ink, this image from the stamp set, and I've already stamped the inside of my card that says just because. And we're going to be using this punch out from when you punch the holes to make the shaker cards, these wonderful little leaf punch outs. I know nobody's throwing those away. You have to use them for something. And then I'm going to have a piece of embossed Very Vanilla from this embossing folder is not Stampin' Up. I think it's made by Doris. And then another piece of Very Vanilla. And a piece of vellum that I cut at 2 3/4 by 3 1/2, and then I just ripped across a little strip at the bottom. And our card base is Delightful Dijon, and it's cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4 down the middle. So the first thing I want to do is get the stamping done. So I'm going to use a little cushion here to stamp this leaf. And if you look at the leaf carefully, you can see that one side of it is smooth and the back side has that little ridge where the die poked through the paper. So we're going to use the top part that's smoother. And using my chocolate chip ink, I'm just going to ink right over the top of this leaf. Leave it there for a second. Pull the leaf off. That is so cool. I love that stamp. Okay, and I also need a piece of Very Vanilla, and in your thank you kit, if you're one of my subscribers, you're going to get some of these labels punched out, and you just need to stamp your greeting yourself. And I guess I'm going to use 2 stamps. I need the one that says hello. Ink that up in the chocolate chip. I don't use this color very often, but I really like it, so maybe now that we got it in a paper pumpkin kit, I'll remember to use it more often. Okay, and then I have a punch, a label punch. Just going to punch that out like that. And my stamping for this card is done. So I think we're ready to start putting things together. On the inside, I'm going to use my Tombow glue. No, I'm not. I'm going to use some fast fuse. Leave about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, on the outside of the card, for this one, this is going to be a step up even from this card. So this card, I just put the embossed layer right on top of the card base. And this time, I'm going to put a layer of Very Vanilla that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to put that on with fast fuse. And then on top of that, I'm going to put this layer of embossed paper, and I have cut it at 3 3/4 inches across by 5 inches down. And I'm going to use fast fuse on this too. This fast fuse is really good sticky tape. I kind of want the swirl to come down, so I'm going to put it with this orientation on the card. Okay. Now, the next step after I get the embossed layer on is to create this tag. And this tag I've made using this piece of embossed vellum, and I embossed it with a folder called Sparkle, which is in the catalog this year. And I'm going to put some very vanilla twine around this, and I cut about 16 inches. So I just want to tie a little knot to begin with. I'm not going to make the bow yet. That just kind of hold it in place. And then I need some linen twine. Probably 8 inches would be plenty. As you can see, I've wrapped my twine around a tube. I think I mentioned that in my last video. When you have these leftover tubes, take your twine, like this linen twine or any of your old baker twine that you have that's wrapped around those flat paper cards, and wrap them around these tubes, and that'll get the kinks out when you're ready to use it. Okay, so I have a, whoops, let's take this first. This little leaf that we stamped, I'm going to punch a hole right toward the top there. And this is a tiny hole. I'll see if I can fix it so you can see the hole. There it is. Just a tiny little hole, and I'm going to put the twine through there. And then I need to put the twine through this little embellishment that I put in your kits for you. This is also retired. I don't remember what they were called, but they're such cute little wooden nuts and leaves. This is supposed to be a leaf, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to leave about, I'm going to put a knot up about 1.25 inches. About right there, I think. Okay. And cut that off. Okay, now I want to just tie this to this element of the card in the bow. So I'm just going to thread the very vanilla thick baker's twine through that through the string loop I just made, and then I'm going to tie a bow. Okay, that took some time. Some days I just can't tie a bow, but fortunately there's editing available on these video programs. Alright, so I want the twine to be a full 1/4 inch, so maybe even 3/8 of an inch from the top. And then I'm just going to cut this tail off. Now you can, I'll show you what I did on the first card, and then you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want to with your tails. So on the first card, I put a knot at the end of the twine, and I kind of like that. But this time I didn't. My twine wasn't long enough, so I didn't make a knot. However, you can see that my bow decided it wanted to fray at the end, so I'll probably have to fray both sides, and that'll be kind of cute. Alright, so that element of the card is ready to put on the card, and since this is vellum, we need to attach it with something, probably something transparent, because we don't have any big areas that we could hide the adhesive behind. So I'm going to use glue dots, and you got lots of glue dots in your kit. But if you want lots and lots of, just to have glue dots on hand. Stampin' Up! Sells glue dots in rolls of 300. And that's what I like to use. So on the back of my vellum, I'm going to put glue dots across the back where I can kind of hide them with this twine. So I want 4 glue dots. And I'm going to center this element on the card, side to side, but toward the top. Right there looks good to me. Squish those glue dots down so that it really adheres to the embossed paper below. Now you can see that I could hide a glue dot behind this part, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick it up, find a spot to stick it on, and hide it behind that leaf. And the leaf will move around, but not far enough that that glue dot will be glaring. Okay, the next thing I want to put on the card is this Hello Greeting. I'm going to use 4 glue dots for that. If you wanted to, you could use dimensionals for this part. Okay, now we're almost finished. The only thing left is the little sequins. And if you should probably have some sequins left from making your cards. Didn't seem like we had a ton of extra sequins, but I made all 8 cards and I had all of this left. So you should have a little bit left at least. And what I would do next is take the Tombow glue and just decide where do I want to have sequins on this card. So maybe one right here, another one here, and I like to have things in 3s or 5s. And so on this card, I'm going to do 3, I think. One there. Come on, you. I'm having glue issues. I'll fight with the glue, and then when it comes out, it'll be a big glob. There. So I'm going to put 3 sequins on there, and I think I'm going to use 1 of each size. I just love these fall colored sequins. Hint, hint, Stampin' Up! Next year, sell us fall colored sequins in packages. Okay, there's a little one. Put the medium one sized one right here. And then I need a big one at the top. I think I'll get a green one if I can. There's a green one. There. So there you have it. That's the card. Here are the 3 cards I made. So I'm going to be sending you, if you're a subscriber, everything you need to make 4 cards, except you'll have to use your own leaves and your own ink and adhesives. So I'll be getting these in the mail soon. I hope that you enjoy this project. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for being my Paper Pumpkin subscriber. Happy stampin'. Bye.